Under the blinding lights of the ring, where every heartbeat echoes louder than the crowd, boxing transforms into something beyond sport. It becomes a symphony of violence and grace, a place where control and chaos dance hand in hand. And sometimes, that dance takes on a form so surreal, so unexpected, it borders on the absurd. These are the moments when the human body, driven past its limits, staggers, spins, and collapses in a display both dramatic and devastating. Tonight, we step into that strange world, into the unforgettable, almost comical, yet haunting spectacle known among fans as the chicken dance. It was June 16, 2018, in Quebec, Canada, a night charged with national pride and heavyweight ambition. Simon Keane, a towering Canadian powerhouse, met Adam Braidwood under the bright lights for the IBO Intercontinental and vacant WBC Francophone titles. The air buzzed with tension as two men, built like monuments of will and muscle, circled each other, each searching for that one clean shot that could change everything. By the third round, the rhythm of the fight shifted. Keane's left hook, a crisp, merciless arc of power, crashed into Braidwood's jaw. In that instant, time seemed to bend. Braidwood's eyes glazed, his balance abandoned him, and his body staggered into an unholy dance across the ring. He lurched one way, then another, caught between instinct and oblivion, before tumbling helplessly over the ropes. It wasn't a graceful fall. It was the body's final protest before surrender, a haunting reminder of how fragile a fighter's command over his own body can be once the lights go out behind the eyes. Fast forward to November 26, 2022, at Wembley, London, where cruiserweight Siobhan Clarke faced Jose Gregorio Aldrich. The crowd was still finding its rhythm when, barely a minute into the second round, Clarke unleashed a thunderous right uppercut. The punch snapped Aldrich's head back like a marionette with its strings suddenly pulled taut. For a heartbeat, he remained upright, then the dance began. His legs, no longer his own, flailed in defiance of reason. He performed that now infamous, funky chicken motion, an involuntary ballet of nerves and misfiring impulses, before collapsing. The referee, with sharp instincts, intervened before Clarke could throw another blow. It was a mercy call, a split-second act that spared Aldrich from a far darker fate. The crowd roared, half in awe, half in disbelief, at how swiftly control had turned to chaos. In the ring, victory is measured in moments like these, moments when the difference between dominance and disaster is just one punch away. The year before that, October 13, 2017, the York Hall in London witnessed another stunning unraveling. Middleweights Eric Israel and William Weir clashed in a fight few expected would become so dramatic. Weir, the favorite, entered with confidence, but Israel fought like a man with something to prove. In the second round, a sharp combination sent Weir to the canvas. He rose, determined, his pride demanding he continue. But Israel had found his rhythm. In the third, he pressed the assault with relentless precision. A left hand chopped down, followed by a right that detonated on Weir's jaw. The favorite crumpled, his body folding under invisible weight, wobbling as if the earth beneath him had betrayed him. The towel flew from his corner, but the referee had already stepped in. As oxygen masks came out and trainers rushed to his aid, the crowd stood silent, reminded that courage sometimes isn't enough. Israel, the underdog no one expected, had stunned the boxing world, and perhaps even himself. Then came December 15, 2016, Los Angeles, California. Under the glow of the Staples Center lights, Lucius Johnson squared off against Oleg Zapenko. The bout seemed evenly matched through the early rounds, but the fourth brought devastation. Johnson unleashed a brutal right hook that cracked through Zapenko's guard and detonated on his temple. Zapenko's knees buckled. He tried to rise, his body trembling with the effort, but his legs had become strangers to him. They refused to obey. He stumbled, folded, and fell again, his mind willing but his body done. The crowd rose in applause, not just for the knockout, but for the heart of a man who refused to stay down even as every nerve in his body screamed surrender. Rewind to January 16, 2015, Verona, New York. Cornelius Whitlock and Greg Jackson squared off in what was expected to be a straightforward welterweight contest. But boxing loves irony. In round 2, Whitlock caught Jackson with a sharp overhand right, sending him sprawling to the canvas. The commentators murmured about damage and doubt, noting the dazed look in Jackson's eyes as he struggled to his feet. Yet, something flickered within him, stubbornness, pride, maybe fury. In the third round, Jackson came alive. No longer the hunted, he became the storm. He tore into Whitlock with wild precision, every punch fueled by desperation and defiance. The barrage forced Whitlock back, and in a stunning reversal, Jackson claimed a TKO victory. From near collapse to comeback, it was a moment that reminded everyone why boxing remains the purest theater of resilience. But perhaps no story captures the drama of human endurance quite like the one from Philadelphia in 1995. Julio Cesar Vasquez, the reigning WBA light middleweight champion, found himself trailing on every scorecard against the slick and elusive Carl Daniels. For 10 rounds, Daniels had outboxed him, outthought him, outmaneuvered him. Vasquez's title, and perhaps his pride, hung by a thread. Then came the 11th round. Desperation breeds power, and in that moment, Vasquez summoned everything left in his body into one perfect straight left. The punch landed flush, snapping Daniels' head back and sending him crashing to the canvas like a marionette cut from its strings. He tried to rise, once, twice, but his legs betrayed him, buckling beneath him as he tumbled again, collapsing into the corner. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Against all odds, Vasquez had turned defeat into victory with a single perfect strike. And then there was Japan, April 23, 2000. Nagoya vibrated with anticipation as Yokai Mars challenged the WBA flyweight champion Hideki Tadaka. From the opening bell, the two fighters traded blows with reckless abandon, each testing the other's will. The 8th round was chaos, a slugfest of mutual destruction. In the dying seconds, Tadaka landed a monstrous right hand that sent Mars stumbling backward, his entire frame trembling as though struck by lightning. Somehow, he beat the count, determined to fight on. But in round 11, Tadaka unleashed a flurry that broke him. Mars reeled against the ropes, powerless, as his body wavered and folded. The referee stepped in, and the crowd, equal parts horrified and awed, erupted. It was the kind of ending that etches itself into the collective memory of boxing fans everywhere. Beautiful, brutal, and unforgettable. Finally, we travel back once more to Paris, April 11, 1995. Croatian heavyweight J. Kamavic faced off against France's Christophe Bizo for the vacant European title. 11 grueling rounds had passed, each fighter giving everything they had. And then, in the final seconds of the 11th, Kamavic found the opening he'd been searching for. A colossal right hand connected, sending Bizo staggering, his body spinning in slow motion before collapsing face-first into the canvas. Somehow, he tried to rise, clutching at the ropes like a drowning man reaching for shore. His legs quivered, his body refused. The referee waved it off, and the crowd, momentarily stunned, erupted in applause for the warrior who refused to fall quietly. Across these moments, scattered across decades and continents, runs a single thread, the fragility of control. Each chicken dance, each staggering fall, each trembling attempt to rise, tells the same story. The human body pushed beyond reason, the will to fight wrestling against biology's surrender. It's strange and mesmerizing, at once tragic and oddly poetic. These are the moments that remind us why boxing, for all its brutality, is still art, a raw, unfiltered expression of heart, courage, and the ever-delicate balance between triumph and collapse. And so, as the echoes of those punches fade into history, one question lingers. Which of these unforgettable knockouts struck you the most? Was it the shocking collapse in Quebec, the heroic comeback in New York, or the desperate struggle in Nagoya? Let us know in the comments below. And if you love diving into the wild, unpredictable world of boxing's most dramatic moments, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another story from the squared circle, where legends rise, fall, and sometimes dance their way into history.